Continuous glucose monitors are all the rage right now, but is it worth it for weight loss? Today, I'm gonna do a ruthless review of a glucose monitor after wearing it myself for over 6 months. Do they actually help with weight loss? Is it a waste of money, especially if your goal is weight loss? Or is there value in it? So we're gonna break it down today in this video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley Salvatore. If you're not familiar with what a continuous glucose monitor is, it's literally a little device that you attach to the back of your arm. It doesn't hurt, you don't even feel it. You clip it on, you pay for a yearly membership to use the app, plus these suckers are pretty expensive. Sometimes over $200 a month just for the 2 monitors to attach to you, and $200 a year for the app to actually track it. Now, there are some pros and cons. There are some things that I've found with these monitors that can help you, and there's some things that could hold you back from your goals. So I'm gonna share with you guys my thoughts on that today so you can figure out if this is the type of investment you want to make for yourself, for your optimal health, for your future. I wore the continuous glucose monitor for 6 months. My goal was weight loss. At the time, I was following a low-carb, ketogenic lifestyle, okay? What that means is the foods that I was eating was not gonna cause a glucose spike unless I went off keto and I ate something, with higher carbohydrates, maybe had a cheat day, and then that's when I would see the glucose spike from that. So over the course of 6 months, my glucose remained incredibly stable. I had scores of 97% within the Levels app. Levels is the glucose monitor I was using. Very high metabolic scores. I'm entering my food in, I'm looking at this and I'm like, wow, I am doing amazing. I am going to reach all my body goals because my glucose is so stable. There's nothing my body can do other than lose the body fat, right? Well, I was wrong. Over the course of those 6 months, I not only didn't lose anything, but I gained weight. How is it possible to have completely flat and stable glucose and be tracking it all on a monitor 24/7 and gain weight? Well, this is where I think the glucose monitor can actually hold you back and might work against you versus for you. So first things first, let's talk about the benefits of the glucose monitor and who it may be right for. So the glucose monitor, I think, on a positive side, is helpful to kind of get to know your body on a deeper level, to see how food reacts to your body and how your body responds to food and how it rebounds from different foods and that sort of thing. I think that's kind of cool. Also, if someone is maybe trying to come away from a very high processed, already very high packaged, maybe a lot of fast food type of diet, I could see how the glucose monitor would motivate you to start making some more whole food choices, to start making a change in that direction, right? I can see how that would be a positive change and influence. The other thing that it is very motivating to see that you're doing the right thing in the mind of the app and what the app tells you is the right thing. Now, depending on your goal, if your goal is simply to have stable glucose, then yes, a glucose monitor like this is going to help you achieve that goal. If your actual goal is to lose body fat, then a glucose monitor is not necessarily going to do that for you. And here's why I think it could be, what the cons are from that. As an example, for me, while I was keto, low glucose, stable all the time, and didn't lose any weight, I by using the actual monitor, I became obsessed with checking my glucose constantly throughout the day. I started having a bad relationship with food. I started thinking of food as either good or bad versus, is this healthy? Is this what my body needs in this moment? And so that, I think, is a major drawback of this. The next thing, once I decided to take the glucose monitor off, I decided to do that because I made a shift in more so focusing on like my microbiome health, and what my microbiome needed is higher in carb, and showing up on the glucose monitor, it can spike my glucose. Now, remember, my goal is fat loss, not just to have stable blood glucose. I want to achieve fat loss, but also optimize my health. Once I made this shift for myself and I started seeing these spikes on my glucose monitor, it started making me feel like I was doing the wrong thing. And it started making me feel like, oh my gosh, my glucose is spiking. What's gonna happen? I'm gonna gain weight now because my glucose is spiking. So I decided to take the glucose monitor off at that point. Once I was like, I'm healing my microbiome, this is going to require me to start eating oatmeal, to start eating sweet potatoes and different types of foods that are not going to be simply foods to please the glucose monitor. So what happened to me after that point was I started healing my relationship with food. So I started going a couple months without worrying if I'm having stable glucose, but more so focusing in on eating the foods to heal my microbiome. And then what happened from that point is I probably had a single spike a day because I'm intermittent fasting, and I was using this with OMAD, which means I'm doing 1 meal a day. So I'm having 1 glucose spike a day, and then I'm going a long period without spikes. Now, if you're eating all day long, probably a glucose monitor is very helpful, and maybe spiking your glucose all day long is going to keep you stalled out towards your goals. I knew in my mind I'm having 1 meal, so clearly I can only have 1 glucose spike in that meal. And so I was okay with that. 1 glucose spike, no big deal. My body can rebound from that. I'm giving it a nice long period of fasted time after that. I lost 24 pounds in the 3 months since I took the glucose monitor off. And I also quit keto, and I also started eating more carbs, and I also healed my relationship with food. The first month I lost 15 pounds, and I was not eating really that healthy of foods. I was just eating 1 meal a day, and it was whatever I wanted. Sometimes it's French fries, sometimes it's whatever. I just wanted to heal my relationship with food, and I lost a ton of weight that first month. And then the second month I lost 5 pounds, and the next month I lost another 4 pounds, and then it ended up being 24 pounds. That's just a little background about me getting back to the continuous glucose monitor. Then as I healed my microbiome, I started craving more whole plant type foods. So over the last couple weeks, I started eating more of like a plant-based lifestyle. And then I was curious, I wonder what's going on with my glucose since I started eating a plant-based lifestyle. So I had two in stock, an entire month's worth. So I put one on. Okay, so I've got it on now. It's been about a week since I've had this glucose monitor on, and guess what? I see my glucose spiking, and it will spike like quite a bit, between 34 to 50 points. It will spike from the whole plant foods that I'm eating. And then it will come back down, and then it'll be at baseline, and it will rebound very quickly. So it's not like I'm either staying spiked or anything like that. All right, so I'm spiking every day. So I know I'm spiking every day. But when I see it on my monitor, it does give me a negative feeling like I'm doing something wrong. However, I'm feeding my body whole foods, fruits, vegetables, all of these amazing foods. And I know I'm eating the right types of foods for my body. And so that in itself is kind of a disconnect. The next thing is, on the glucose monitor, my glucose spikes like a lot with sweet potato, but not very much with a white potato. Now, sweet potatoes are full of antioxidants and have a ton of really great nutrition, especially for the gut microbiome. And so what is more important to me? Spiking my glucose or giving my body the antioxidants and the food for my microbiome as one of the superfoods that came up on my microbiome test? It's a clear choice for me, but if I didn't have this knowledge, I wouldn't know the difference, right? So it doesn't mean that a food is bad for you if you have a glucose spike from it. Now remember, this is just my opinion, okay? Based on my own personal experience. So the other thing is, there's such a thing as meal timing, right? Haven't you heard that you can minimize a glucose spike if you eat protein first? Do you know why that is, guys? Think about this logically. If you eat protein first and then have a lower glucose spike from the carbs you eat second, That means that the protein is spiking your blood insulin so that when you consume the carbs, it's just getting shuttled into storage quicker, so it's not sticking around in your bloodstream. Is that necessarily a good thing? Maybe not necessarily, depending on if you're just a healthy person focusing on fat loss. It doesn't really, you don't necessarily need that glucose to be out of your system so super quick. Your body might actually need it in your blood to then do what it needs to do for your brain and stuff like that, and to use it and to burn it versus storing it. So put that into perspective, because I know we've heard this, right? And I've talked about this even in previous videos, because while I was using the glucose monitor, I would share about it. I would share my results. I used it to like compare different foods and stuff. I talked about the meal timing and the glucose spike. It wasn't until after I started eating like really the plant-based whole foods, and I'm eating very nutritious, healthy foods for my body, that I recognized that the glucose monitor can actually stop you from eating healthful foods just because it gives you a glucose spike. If you wear it, I think it's great and I think it's fine, as long as you use it within your mindset of, is this taking me away from eating healthier foods, or is this taking me away from eating unhealthy foods? If it's taking you away from eating some healthy foods, then maybe it's not very good. After this one is up, this 2 weeks, I'm not putting another one back on. I'm just not doing it. It's very toxic for me for my mental health to be thinking of food as good and bad at this point in my life and in my journey, because I'm continually improving my body composition, eating these healthy foods by focusing on my microbiome. Now, I'm investing my money in separate places. So instead of the glucose monitor, I invest it in these microbiome tests so I can check that out and see what has changed, so I know what types of foods I should be focusing on and eating, regardless of the glucose spike that might come from it. Now, you might have been using a glucose monitor and it might be moving you forward. You might be losing weight, you might be achieving your goals, and that would be the case if you're coming from a situation where maybe you were just eating the standard American diet all day long, and then you're moving into a position where now all of a sudden you're more mindful of eating whole foods and eating less processed foods, right? Now, there's a way to eat a ketogenic diet in an unhealthy way and in a healthy way, but for me, I stayed on it for way too long. That was my problem. And it created a lot of inflammation, even though my glucose levels were low. So as you embark on your journey to reach your health goals, hopefully this helps you, because this is a major investment, because it's very expensive to do this type of monitoring. The other thing is, it's a little strange and a little odd that my glucose would spike higher when I would do a workout than when I eat a carb heavy meal. So, and then they say having a spike from a workout is good, but having a spike from food is bad. So it doesn't make sense. I would think any spike would be bad if a spike is a spike, right? A spike in your glucose is a spike in your glucose, whether it's coming from stored glycogen that is going into your bloodstream because of the exercise, or you're consuming it and it's in your bloodstream. It's in your bloodstream anyway. So isn't that strange? But then also, when you take a shower or go into a hot tub like I do, my glucose again will spike higher. So I will have a very carb heavy meal. We're talking 150 to 200 grams of carbs within a single meal. And my glucose will spike higher when I take a shower and have like heat on me than from that meal. Okay, so are they like, should we not take showers? Like, I don't think we should worry so much about having completely stable glucose, depending on the goal. And I want to remind you guys, depending on the goal, if you have diabetes and you are on a glucose monitor to monitor that for health reasons, that's totally different, okay? I'm talking about just the regularly healthy person who's putting on a glucose monitor. And once again, if you feel like it's helping you move forward to your goals, then maybe it's a good thing. If you think it is actually getting in your head and giving you this bad relationship with food and is actually taking you in the opposite direction and making you stop eating some of the variety of the healthy carb-rich fruits and vegetables and foods out there, then maybe that's not actually going to improve your health and move you forward into a positive direction, right? I'm curious, have you tried a glucose monitor before? Were you thinking about trying a glucose monitor? The one that I use, Levels, if you still want to do it and you're like, you know what? I think this is going to be a great thing for me. then that's amazing. I'll put the link in the description so you can check out the one that I have. Otherwise, I do like the platform. I do like how they have it set up. I do like how they give you tips and stuff based on the information of what's happening. But at the same time, don't get too wrapped up in like, okay, as long as I have stable glucose, my goal is fat loss, I'm gonna lose the fat. Because at the end of the day, the amount of food you eat matters probably the most. The type of food matters too, right? The type of foods matter too, but some foods that spike your glucose is not bad for fat loss. It can still actually help you lose fat, right? And I'm proof of that. So thanks guys for watching this video. You're gonna wanna check out this video next, and I'll see you in the next one.